Welcome to the Golden Nuggets.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Golden Nuggets. Hanafi here with Ame, and this is part 2 with brother Mustaffa Kamal.
Yeah. Alright, so our first part was supposed to be a background thing, but then
Usually.
the conversation was very interesting.
Yeah.
So we skipped that part. Don't need to know about whether you're a naughty kid or not.
As you please.
Okay. So you mentioned that your very first business is the hostel.
That's right.
So can you share with us how did that actually started? Because you mentioned one minute you were you're captain in the SDF, and then suddenly you were cleaning toilets for 2 months. And how does that suddenly become you being the owner of the hostel?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to understand the process as well. Like, what made you want to do it, to have a hostel?
No, I'm just thinking, for the sake of brevity, how do I condense that? Because it did not start when I started the hostel. Obviously, it started when I was young, right?
Yes.
That the seeds were already planted from a very early age. And I was very entrepreneurial from a very young age. I share with you one of the naughty story.
Okay.
So in I remember in primary 1 and primary 2, I love playing football and during the recess time or before school. I think we used to play before school.
Okay.
So I remember that day I had a homework to submit. And I know that I had there's this friend who really enjoyed doing homework for some reason. Edmund, his name was.
Okay.
Yeah. So I said, Edmund, you know what? Since you like doing homework, I have $1. Do you want to earn $1? Here's $1. Why don't you try to do my homework for me, and then I go and play football?
Okay.
Yeah. So that we would have a sort of an arrangement, like, okay, Edmund would take $1, he would settle my homework for me, I would go and play football. Yeah. So I didn't realize it then, obviously, but until now in retrospect I look back, it's like, oh wow, actually from a very young age I've been starting to do this kind of things.
Yeah, transactions.
Yeah, doing transactions, making things happen in there. And already that mindset was like that from quite an early age. So how the hostel started was, maybe if I can backtrack a little bit, in my last year in NUS, there's this program called the work and travel program. And travel program, where you get to travel in the States and then you get to work. So I picked a job as a lifeguard in New Jersey. So I worked there for a few months. During that period of time, New Jersey is just like 2 or 3 hours away from New York. And New Jersey is pretty kampong. So every weekend or every off day, I will like take a bus up to New York, or sometimes rent a car, go up to New York, spend a day there or spend 2 days there. But the days that I spent 2 days there, I have to stay in New York. Hotels were really expensive, so my friend said, hey, why don't you check out this website called hostels.com. So I checked it out, then I found like beds for $15. So what happens is that you stay in a hostel, 10, 12 beds in a room. You pay $15 US dollars, you get a bed for the night, and then you have breakfast. And then, but you stay with strangers, bunch of other strangers. So I thought, okay, this is pretty dodgy, but try it out. So I got there and got to the lobby, and the lobby is pretty nice, like a proper hotel. You go to the room, then it's quite a simple room like this, and just
bunk beds.
Then they put like 4 or 5, depending on the room types, you know. Yeah, then you meet people. Hey, I'm from Germany, I'm from Indonesia, I'm from Canada, and then you're like, oh, what are you guys doing? Oh, I'm going here. Wanna join? Join. So that's what happened. So I went a few times, I met people, and every time it was fun. So that idea was already planted in my head, like, wow, this is fun. Do we have something like this in Singapore? I don't know, because you don't travel in Singapore, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I don't know. But anyway, that's planted in my head. I bookmarked it or put it in my pocket. And then I joined SCDF. And then in SCDF, on my 3rd year, I was, to be honest, at that point in time, I was a bit jaded with the bureaucracies of things. So I thought, hey, maybe I should try something else, before I got too comfortable, get promoted to a major or lieutenant colonel, then pays too good. I'm not gonna, I'll have commitment, so I'm not gonna move around. So I better do it now. I'm 26, I'm young, and if I fail, I can always get back up, no problems. Yeah. So I remember I was traveling to Spain that year, and in that year, 2012, if I'm not wrong, 2012, and after the financial crisis, 50% of people under 30 in Spain were unemployed. But when I was there, everybody was having fun, enjoying themselves, and life was just as per normal. So I thought, hey, life is not about like going to work and feeling unhappy and earning money and then you don't feel fulfilled. I'm gonna take a different approach to life, the European style. So I called my director and said, sir, I know that when I get back to Singapore, I'm going to get into the growth of things and I'm going to forget this. So I'm going to make a commitment now. When I get back, I'm going to tender my resignation. And then he said, what? Are you sure? They said, okay, let's go back and talk more. Yeah, I'll get back and talk more. I just want to commit first. Yeah. So that's what I did. I already had the idea and then I had that trigger. Then I acted on it. Yeah, because a lot of people in life, they have ideas and then they have that trigger, but they never act on it.
Yes.
Yeah, but I acted on it and I committed to it. Even though I did not know what the future was, the 999 steps I didn't know. I just knew that one step that I had to take and I did it. I committed to it. So I got back, tendered my resignation. That was May. And then in June, there was the Euro 2012. I remember. So my mind was distracted watching football. And then July came and then I thought, okay, time to get serious, time to look for properties, time to look for money and all. So anyway, by November that year, we found a property in Arab Street, 40 Arab Street, and that became our first ever hostel. So that's how things started.
It's still there,
just
right?
to keep things very short.
It's still there, right?
No, we sold it off. 2016 we sold it off.
Okay.
Mashallah, what a life journey. But kids, if you're listening, don't pay your friend to
don't try this at home. Don't try this.
This podcast is sponsored by Vital Signs First Aid Training Centre.
Introducing Vital Signs First Aid Training Center, your ultimate destination for workplace safety excellence. Our CPR AED training are absolutely essential. Imagine having a confident and well-prepared workforce at your disposal. A workplace where every single employee knows exactly how to respond in a crisis situation. You can create this kind of workplace with our hands-on training sessions. Our courses are designed to be not just informative, but enjoyable and unforgettable. Schedule a CPR and AED training session with us today, and you'll even enjoy an exclusive discount for early bookings. Don't wait. WhatsApp First Aid to 874-84007 to secure your spot. At Vital Signs, your workplace safety is our top priority. Join us in making your workplace safer and more prepared than ever before.
Nuggets, back to the episode.
So so how do you start then the hostel? Like what kind of capital did you have to get started?
Nothing. So before I started, right? So in July we wanted to start, but I didn't have any idea of how to do it. So what I did was got a job. So I worked in a hostel in Bussorah Street for 2 months. That's when I started cleaning the toilets, changing bed sheets, dealing with bed bugs, all sorts of problems, you know. But we started by just looking for the property, and then we looked around at Little India, we looked around at Clarke Quay, and then we finally found a nice little property, 5-story building on Arab Street, but dilapidated, like in a terrible condition. So we went in, we thought, okay,
you can do something.
I think we can turn this around. And the rent back then was quite alright. It's 18,000 for 5 stories.
Okay,
$18,000 for 5 stories. So
but you gotta pay like 3 months, right?
Yeah,
3 months plus 1 month of
down payment, first month's rent. So we had to pay the first month's rent.
So that's about 100,000.
You had that's about 54 plus 18, 72, is it?
Yeah.
So that happened, but I didn't know that was going to happen. So all I knew was that I was going to look for a property. So when we were signing, they said, okay, we need 3 months plus 1 month. And we was like, oh, okay. So we had to...
So you signed before knowing that there's a 3 plus 1?
Yeah. During the signing, we realized, oh, okay, that's a 3 plus 1. But we thought we're not going to turn back now. We had to dip in. Already. So we're like back borrow still.
Okay.
Gathered the savings, spoke to family and friends, and put some money together, and then paid whatever we needed to pay, we pay. Whatever we could save on, we saved. So we saved quite a bit. If I can say, right, we saved about in the region of 200 to 300,000 doing things ourselves. Yeah, paid right down to painting, bricklaying, installation of electricals, installation of beds, decoration, those things that we could handle ourselves. We did it ourselves.
Okay.
Not because we wanted to, but because
you don't have the funds.
No funds, no choice.
Yeah, but that's it, right? Because you're doing things yourself, I'm sure it will take some time, right? As compared to getting a contractor to do it, and so you could have actually started your hostel like way earlier.
No, we started really early. We started
you managed
early.
to start early.
I remember we had if I'm not wrong, two months rent-free period. 2 months rent-free period.
Okay.
Yeah, so November 1st November to end of December is the rent-free period.
Okay.
Yeah, but by mid-December by 1st December we were operating already.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you technically had 1 month.
We work round the clock.
Yeah. Okay.
My partner and I, we work round the clock to make things happen.
How many of you at the start?
Just me and one other guy, Kelvin.
Kelvin.
Yeah, just two of us.
Wow.
Yep.
And what was Kelvin doing previously?
Kelvin was running a small advertising company or company or activation company. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, but so you needed about 72,000 at the start.
Just for the deposit, just for the property, and several 100,000 for the reno and
the operational stuff.
So how many people actually put in like chip in the money?
Nobody.
Nobody. So it was only two of you.
Yeah, there's the two of us, and everything else we had to owe the contractor. We had to owe the some family and friends. Just like small sums here and there. It was just cleared out quite immediately. Yeah, so that's why we needed to, even though we had 2 months rent free, we had to just get the thing up and running so that money starts flowing in, because we didn't even have 1 month's rent. Not even the rent for January.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, the thing with that difficulty also came that lesson, right? That because it's do or die, so we were forced to survive.
Yes.
We were put in a very difficult position such that we had to do everything it took, and don't sleep if we have to, and just make it happen. Yeah, so that also kind of polished our mentality of just making things happen, and finding solutions where there seem to be none.
At that point of time, right, when you were doing things,
I wanted to cry
yourself.
Yeah.
But were you sleeping at the hostel itself?
Oh yeah,
day
many
and night
nights.
just to
Not day, we never slept in the day. But night, some nights I spent some nights there. Many nights like
Many nights,
yeah.
Okay. So how many beds were there?
62,
and each bed is about $20 per night?
It ranges between, when we started it was between 26 to 36.
Okay.
26 for the bigger room. We had a 16-bed dorm, and then we had a 6-bed dorm, and it was $36. Yeah.
Okay, so 30. So you can actually make about 1,008 a day, if full capacity.
Thereabouts. Yeah, thereabout $30.
Not bad.
Beds, yeah.
Not that bad, huh?
Yeah. And we were quite alright, because most of the time we were about 90% occupancy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. So technically on your 15th day you would have covered everything, except your salary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
15th day. Yeah. So to be really honest, right, at that point in time I didn't count all of this.
Okay.
Yeah. Now that this is the first time in over 10 years, right, that you're making me think back, how much did I actually make back then? Yeah. So we made about I would say 1.5 to 2K a day. And that would mean 30 to 50,000 a month. Yeah, I remember it was around like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not, doesn't sound much now lah, but back then it sounded like it was alright.
And considering you had 90% occupancy, right? My question would be, how did you market yourself at that point of time?
Quite simple. We just put ourselves on certain platforms like Agoda, Booking.com, Hostels.com. So over there, there's a certain mechanism that really works. Like if you've got highest rating, you're on top. People leave reviews, so we will always fight for good reviews, so that we'll be right up in the listings. And then eventually we built our own branding, so you can book via our website direct, so you get slightly cheaper prices or free, I don't know, free something. Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about the breakfast later, because one of the questions I had when I went there to eat, right, was who stays here?
You went to eat?
Yeah, at Working Title like many years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
for the Arab Street. So you have been there. Okay.
Yes, I've been there.
Yeah.
Like I was like wondering who comes here. Especially I think your basement was a bit dark,
dingy,
right? Yeah,
dark and dingy.
Yeah, I mean not the basement. It's in the first floor.
Yeah.
Right. So it makes me wonder, like, would I want to come in here and so on? So at that point of time, you getting 90% occupancy. That was purely all through all the different platforms.
Yes. Through the different platforms, through TripAdvisor, because people leave. I think when it comes to hostel, the game is different from restaurants. If you're somebody from Canada, you've never been to Singapore, all you have are pictures on the internet or reviews on Agoda or TripAdvisor, and you're like, okay, this looks good, the price is alright, I'm gonna book this. And then it's not that you can change your mind, you get there, it's already booked, you just check in, you just leave, stay there for 2 days. So a lot of it was like looking good online, making sure the reviews are good, making sure people leave happy, and that they will refer to friends. And over the years we had that, few times we had people from, I don't know, I just remember one instance, a guy from Germany came and then stayed at the hostel. We got chatting and he said, oh yeah, my friend stayed here 3 years ago and she recommended me this hostel. I said, okay, that's nice.
And how does that okay, so before we talk about the restaurant part, right, I remember, I think when I listened to one of the podcasts that you were a guest in, you mentioned that when you were doing the hostel, you were earning like about $300 a month. With 90% occupancy, how did that actually happen then?
At that point in time, I think we did not have a very good understanding of how to manage finance. It's more of money in, money out, and then on top of that, we had the money that we had to scrape, right? Back borrow still. So every dollar that came in, every penny or dime that comes in, right? The priority was to go out to everybody that we owed. My priority was
pay off all the debt.
My priority was that to clear everybody as soon as possible. I'll be the last on the list. It's fine, but I don't wanna. By the end of this 18 months, I don't want to owe anyone. Or was it 3 years? By the end of the 3 years, I don't want to owe anyone. So we made it our top priority that every dollar that comes in, who can we pay first?
I see. Okay, and how is it? You at 26, captain of the SCDF previously, suddenly earning $300 a month.
How was it?
How do you feel? Like demoralized?
Terrible. I remember I would come early because in the hostel we serve breakfast at a rooftop. It would be like bread and just peanut butter, third party brand type. Not the one in the translucent container. The host don't know from where. So I remember I would come early. We would start shift at 7:30. I would come early at 6ish and just settle in. And you know what? Kind of hot to have breakfast at home, but I would have breakfast here lah. I was staying in a home there, so I rented out one of my rooms as well, just to sustain and survive. It wasn't great, but at that point in time I didn't care because I feel like I have nothing to lose. I just do this. I have enough to spend on the basic necessities.
But that's the question. I mean, like, if me, father of two, thinking about my wife, and how can I be surviving with $300, right?
No, not possible. Not possible. So at that point in time, I didn't have that kind of commitments, and so that is why I thought at that point I'm at 26. So I thought, okay, that is a brilliant time to just try. If you fail, you're not taking care of a wife or 2 kids.
Yes.
But at that point I did have a car that I sold off. So that was a pain. If you're so used to driving from point A to point B and then suddenly you have to walk or take bus, right? And you just
there was a transition there.
You have to kind of get used to that.
Okay.
But it's not difficult lah. It's not.
I mean, Singapore, right?
First world problem. Making it seem like.
And how does your parents feel? You earning $300.
Oh, they wouldn't. I don't think they knew. I'm not the sort to complain to my parents.
Okay.
Just if something happens, I'm the sort that I'm very pensive. I will go back. I won't even complain to friends. I'm the sort that will go back, hole up in the cave, and just get into my own thoughts and try to see how I can solve the problem. I won't spiral out of control lah. So I will just like center myself and sort it out. So people will kind of know that I'm facing something, but they wouldn't know. I wouldn't really.
Yeah, they wouldn't know exactly.
I don't whine or complain about problems.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So one of the first few things that you said in this part was that that's when you tendered, right? Because you wanted to live a fulfilling European life, right?
Hippie and carefree.
Before we transition to part 3, where we're going to talk about the restaurants, I want to ask you, how has it been now? Do you feel fulfilled with the things that you are doing?
Yes.
I mean, broadly speaking, I'm very happy where I am, and I feel a sense of contentment, because at the end of the day, I know that I've created an ecosystem that benefits, or at least the intention is that. But at the same time, 2023 has been a very difficult year for us. So it's difficult to reconcile that contented at where you are and feeling fulfilled, and the tribulations that you feel in 2023. I'm trying to also reconcile that and make sense of what this means for us. But broadly speaking, I'm very happy where I am. That's why I'm smiling now.
Okay. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
All right. Okay, so with that being said, stay tuned to listen to all the restaurant stories that Mustaffa has to share in part 3. Thank you so much, guys.